Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now the middle of May of 2022, and we're only getting closer to the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series by, of course, director Deborah Chow and other creators on board that's really going to steer Star Wars in a better path for the overall Star Wars fandom. Now, we already know that people like John, George, and Dave are also working on their Star Wars TV shows to really bring things full circle. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing that a lot of fans have been very curious about is exactly what's been going on with Kathleen Kennedy as the president of Lucasfilm. Now, there's been a lot of things happening behind the scenes with her on many different projects, such as the Acolyte TV show and Project Vortex, both of which are going to be High Republic oriented TV shows that's going to be under her full creative power. And I think that's one reason as to why a lot of fans have their arms up in the air and they're just not looking forward to those two TV shows. Now, moving past all of this, one thing that we do know about the Star Wars universe is that Bob Chapek, alright, the Disney CEO, is trying to make sure that what John, George, and Dave are doing is going to be very accurate as possible to the Star Wars Legends lore, because they are going to be reviving a lot of Legends material to be used in the new Star Wars TV shows and projects, books, novels, and comics, you name it. So there's a lot of things at hand here, a lot of things at play between FAVREAU and Filoni to really kind of use a strategy to regain the lost fans that walked away after the events of the sequel trilogy and after when Gina Carano got fired and all those big events of Star Wars. Now, with that being said, what's really intriguing has a lot to do with, of course, the new Star Wars movies, and one thing in particular that comes as a big surprise is exactly what Chapek recently did. Now, with Ewan McGregor now signed on for a multi-show contract to appear in multiple new Star Wars TV shows, Disney CEO Bob Chapek has been making some key adjustments behind the scenes over at Disney in order to enhance the Star Wars roadmap. Now, it's described that currently one of the big changes that Bob Chapek made to the Star Wars universe was by canceling a series of 3 major Star Wars movies that were greenlit by Kathleen Kennedy when she held creative power over at Lucasfilm. As of now, Bob Chapek finalized the decision to cancel the entire new Star Wars trilogy that was being created and run by Kathleen Kennedy that was going to feature the High Republic era of Star Wars, along with, of course, entirely new Star Wars stories being created by Kathleen Kennedy and how she was getting fired from this project, and its slot for new movies entirely from Chapek. Now, the true reason behind this big decision by Bob is that he had a lot of things to do with the fact that Kathleen Kennedy was getting ready to create a new trilogy of movies that would focus away from wars and battle, and also focus more so on environmental threats for the Jedi to face in the new Star Wars movies. Kennedy was looking for ways to drop the rating for these films by, of course, below PG-13. Now, let me just stop right there for a second. Now, Kathleen Kennedy wanted to drop these ratings for these movies, alright, below PG-13 by focusing on a non-violent Star Wars trilogy of films. Let me just say one thing here, is that this sounds like a disaster. I'm so glad that the finalized, take by Bob Chapek, his overall big decision of canceling these 3 HR movies has finally come to an end now. It's all done. It's a sealed deal. Kathleen Kennedy is no more with those movies. She's fired from those films, and the slots that take their place, she's not going to be involved with any of those. The thing about taking away wars from a brand that is called Star Wars is absolutely ludicrous, in my opinion. I don't know about you guys, but it's absolutely ludicrous. When you think about something like that, that's kind of like looking at Marvel and taking away the superhero aspect. You just can't do it. It's a part of the brand, and it wouldn't make much sense at all. So, when you look at everything related to Kathleen Kennedy and her take on the new Star Wars trilogy that was canceled, this is where things begin to get even worse, and we're going to tap into that in just a second from now, because Bob Chapek really wanted to prevent all of this from happening, to prevent a repeat of The Last Jedi backlash that happened back in 2017 into early 2018. Moving on. Now, this is something that Disney and Disney executives over, of course, there had a very big problem with for the new Star Wars universe. Kathleen Kennedy also was set to include Yoda in the new movies and how she was going to completely deconstruct the character into becoming a totally different personality for the character and for the fans. This was yet another major red flag that Bob Chapek noticed for the new trilogy of films, and that Chapek needed to act on this quickly. The HR trilogy was set to also feature, of course, director Rian Johnson as a co-writer for the new films. This was not to be confused with Rian Johnson's own trilogy, but that he was going to be involved as a co-writer for the first film of the new movies, working with other writers of the films. Since the trilogy's cancellation, Kathleen Kennedy has been very angry with the fans' opinion about the High Republic and believes that it was the fans who contributed to her firing from the new movies by Bob. Now, Chapek, of course, now is excited to fill in those slots with a new trilogy that Kathleen Kennedy will no longer be involved in at all, and that these new films taking their place will be announced at the next Star Wars celebration after this one. Now further, it's something that Chapek is said to be very excited to announce before he plans to leave Disney sometime in 2024 during the middle of that year. So I don't know if you guys knew this, but we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that Bob Chapek is, yes, planning on leaving Disney as the CEO by the middle of 2024 due to all the drama that's happening, all the things that are happening with Disney right now, just to put that out there again in case you guys didn't know about that. Further, Kathleen Kennedy so far is now getting ready to begin more work on the Acolyte TV series, which so far is not working out well for her with the numerous setbacks. However, many of Kathleen Kennedy's ideas for the High Republic trilogy are going to be used in the Acolyte series and Project Vortex, which also is in the HR, the High Republic. Now, on top of all of this, alright, we also know that the Acolyte series is having a lot of problems. Recently Kathleen Kennedy, fired one of the directors for the first 2 episodes because he did not agree with her on a creative level, and that led to complications, and that led to his firing. And that's exactly why this show is not going to begin filming at the very minimum until at the least July. And that's even if. That's maybe. That's a big maybe at this point. I don't really see the Acolyte series coming out in 2023. I just don't see it. It's looking like it's either A, gonna get pushed all the way to 2024, or very likely become canceled just like Rangers of the New Republic. And to be honest, a lot of fans out there were excited for the Acolyte series in the beginning because of what was written on paper. On paper it sounds exciting, right? It's about emerging dark side powers, but with this HR trilogy getting cancelled, finally, it took a very long time for Chapek to finalize that. Kathleen Kennedy went along with the sinking ship, that was that trilogy, and she's not going to be involved in the new movies that are going to take over their slots. So that's one thing to also be aware of. And when we look at everything related to Kathleen Kennedy, it's very much a good thing that Chapek is excluding her from all these different projects and all these different plans for the Star Wars universe. But overall, guys, let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon,